Okay students, so far we've talked about the unit title and the lesson objectives. Then, are you guys ready to start today's class? Perfect. So I'm going to give you this worksheet. Take one and pass them to the back. Take one and pass them to the back. Hoyoung, at the back. Did you get the worksheet? Perfect. So what do you see on the first worksheet? Yes, there is a story. It was enemy pie. So from now on, we are going to begin today's class with guessing with the title. So, let's guess with the title, The Enemy Pie. So everyone, what does it mean by enemy? Which words can you come up with when you think of the word enemy? Yes, Dongwoo? Yes, someone you don't like, right? So, someone you don't like. And what else? How about pie? What is pie? Yes, Hyunwoo? Yes, it is food, right? So, pie is food. Then what is enemy pie? What would this enemy pie taste like? Delicious or not delicious? Yes, Tawon? Yes, you don't think it's delicious, right? So it will not delicious. So like this, we just talked about the title enemy pie. Then can you guess what this story will be with this title? Yes, Jongmin? Oh, did everyone hear what Jongmin just said? He said the enemy pie will be the story about giving something not delicious to the enemy. That's a great guessing, Jongmin. Alright, so far we just guessed the story with the title. Then, are you guys ready to talk more about it? Perfect. Let me begin the talk time. So, it's talk. So from now on, we are going to talk with your partners. So Jongmin, Minjong, you two, Hyunjung, Jonghyun, you two, and lastly, you two. So does everyone have their own partners? Perfect. So with your partners, we are going to talk about today's topic. Can anyone tell us what it is? Yes, Jihwan? Yes, it was the enemy. So we are going to talk about your enemy in your school life. Alright? However, in this talk activity, we should remember what? Yes, Tawon? Yes, we should remember all ideas are welcome. So there is no right answer. Just feel free to talk. Alright? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Talk with your partners. Go. 1 minute left, students. Okay, time's up. Then let's share what you talk with your partners. So let's share. Do we have any volunteers? Yes, Hyunjung and Jonghyun. Oh, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. Alright, so like this, we just talk about our school experience, about the enemies, and share in our class. Then, are you guys ready to read another interesting story? Perfect. So let's begin the reading time. So let's read. However, before reading, what do we have to do first? Yes, Hyunjung? Yes, we need to learn some difficult words. So everyone, let's quickly check if there's a difficult word in the first worksheet. Did you guys find some difficult words? Just say the words out loud. Okay, I can hear the word disgusting. So today's word is disgusting. So today's word is disgusting. So does anyone know the meaning of the word disgusting? Alright, then let me give you a hint. So let's look at the context of the word disgusting. Which word can you find around the word disgusting? Yes, Dongwoo? Yes, you can find the earthworms, right? And what else? Yes, Jae-woo? Yes, the rocks, right? So let's imagine that someone gives you a sandwich, but inside there's an earthworm and rock. How would you feel, Tawon? Would you like it? No way, you won't like it. Right? That's because you think the sandwich is disgusting. Then, can you guess the meaning of the word disgusting? Yes, Hoyoung? Oh, did everyone hear what Hoyoung just said? He said, disgusting means something you don't like. So that means something you hate. That's a great guessing, Hoyoung. So, disgusting means something you hate or you don't like it. Alright, so do you understand the meaning of the word disgusting? Then, can you make a sentence with the word disgusting? Yes, Suhyun? Oh, if you don't clean your room, it will be disgusting. That's a perfect sentence. So like this, we just learned this difficult word. Then, are you guys ready to read the text? Perfect. So from now on, we are going to find the main idea from the text. Alright, so from now on, it's time to find the main idea. However, to find the main idea, do we have to read quickly or slowly? Yes, 영어. Yes, we need to read quickly, right? So you don't have to understand every single word. Just read quickly and find the main idea. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes, go. Oh, Suyang, do you need any help? Oh, you can find the main idea. Then why don't you find the keywords that is used repeatedly? Because keywords can be a hint for the main idea. Can you do that? Perfect. I love your effort. 1 minute left, students. Does anyone need more time? Okay, time's up. So let's check the main idea together. Can anyone share your main idea? Yes, Tawon? Oh, did everyone hear what Tawon just said? He said the main idea of this reading text is the secret of enemy pie. So, the main idea is the secret of enemy pie. The secret of enemy pie. Do you guys agree? Perfect. Then everyone, we just found the main idea. Then class, let's look at the title again. What was it? Yes, it was enemy pie, right? So like this, remember that the main idea and the title have very close relationship with each other. Alright? Awesome. So because we just found the main idea, are you guys ready to read the text a little bit more closely? Perfect. Then everyone, let me give you this worksheet. Take one and pass them to the back. Take one and pass them to the back. Suyang, at the back, did you get the worksheet? Perfect. So what do you see in the worksheet? Yes, there's a graphic organizer, right? So from now on, we are going to find some details with the graphic organizer. So let's find some detail. So Tawon, in the graphic organizer, which things can you find? Yes, it says problem here. And what else? Yes, Jihan? Yes, it says solution, right? So problem and solution. So your graphic organizer looks like this, right? Then everyone. So from now on, we are going to read the text again to find the keywords for this graphic organizer. Alright? However, to find the keywords for this graphic organizer, do we have to read everything or can we just read only the necessary part? Yes, we can choose what we need to read, right? So from now on, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to read the text again to find the keywords for this graphic organizer. Are you guys ready? So 10 minutes, find the keywords for the problem and solution, go. Oh, Hyunwoo. You already finished? Wow, what a quick reader. Then why don't you help your partner, Woohyun? I heard Woohyun needs some help. Can you guys do that? Awesome. So like this, friends can be a better teacher. Keep up the good work. 1 minute left, students. Does anyone need more time? Okay, time's up. So let's check the answers together. What kind of keyword can you find for this problem? Yes, Hyunjung. Yes, Jeremy Rose, right? So it was Jeremy Rose. And why was Jeremy Rose the problem? Yes, he won. Yes, he laughed at me, right? So he became what? Yes, Jae-woo. Yes, he became the enemy, right? So the enemy. So that was the problem. And how about the solution? Can anyone share your idea for the solution? Yes, Dongwoo. Oh, you wrote that for the keyword. That's right. So to find the solution, the main character asked Dad for an advice. And what else for the solution? Yes, Minjong? Yes, the solution was enemy pie. So the Dad solution was enemy pie. So like this, we just read the story twice. One for the main idea and another for the detail. However, everyone, let's look at the reading text again. There's something strange. Can you find it? Yes, Hoyoung? Yes, some part is missing. Then what else can you find below the reading text? Yes, Samu? Yes, it says plot twist, right? Then with the plot twist, are you guys ready to create the story for the missing part? Awesome. So let's begin creating the story. So let's create. So from now on, we are going to create a story with your group members. However, how many students in our class? Yes, there are 26 students. So we are going to make two groups of 3 students each and 5 groups of 4 students. Alright, so these 2 groups will be the challenge group. because there are fewer students here. So who wants to take on the challenge to improve your English? Any volunteers? Yes, Suyeon, Hyunsu, and Chongmin, you 3. And who else? Yes, Hoyoung, Youngho, and Jae-woo, you 3. So you guys are in the challenge group, alright? And for the rest of the students, let me make you a group. U4, U4, and finally the last group, group 5, U4. So is everyone in the group? Perfect. So have a seat with your group members. Alright, so you guys are sitting like this, right? So let me give each of you guys a role. So students sitting here, raise your hand. Okay, okay. So you guys are going to be the writer. And students here, raise your hand. Alright, okay. So you guys are going to be the dictionary. And dictionaries. What do we have to do? Yes, Suhyun? Yes, if your group members need to find the word or check the grammar, that's your job. So remember that you can use your tablet PCs to find the online dictionary or grammar checker. Alright? And students here, raise your hand. Okay, okay. So you guys are going to be the presenters. So remember that we are going to have a presentation after we create a story. Alright? And lastly, students here, raise your hand. So you guys are going to be the blogger. Okay. However, for the challenge group, remember that dictionary should take blogger's job too. Alright. So this is for the challengers. Okay. So bloggers, what do we have to do? Yes, Nayoung? Yes. We need to upload our final version of story to the online classroom. Right? Alright, so like this, we just get our roles. Then are you guys ready to create a story with your group members? Perfect. Then everyone, let's look at the screen here. Sangmin, at the back, can you see the screen? Perfect. So what do you see on the screen? Yes, there's a sample writing. What can you find in the sample writing? Any ideas? Yes, Uyong? Yes, there's a plot twist, right? So like this, there are several things you should remember when you create a story. So remember this when you create a story. Like Uyong just said, we should have the plot twist. Alright? So the first thing was plot twist. So make sure your group writing has a plot twist. Alright? And what else can you find? How about the length of the story? Yes, Jae-woo? Yes, right. So like Jae-woo just said, you should write at least 5 or more sentences. Okay? So the story should long enough. And what else? How about the storyline? Yes, Konu? Yes, it is very creative, right? So remember that your story should be creative. Okay? So remember these 3 things when you create a story. Alright? So just before we start, let me tell you this. The best group's writing will be actually published in our English class storybook. How does it sound? Exciting? Awesome. So I'm going to give you 20 minutes to do what, Jae-woo? Yes, we are going to write a story. And what's your role, Suhyun? Yes, you are going to be the blogger, right? So 20 minutes, create a story, go. Oh, group 4, do you need any help? Oh, you don't know how to create a story. Yes, it's very difficult to come up with new things. Then, why don't you look at the back of the worksheet? What do you see? Yes, there are several guide questions. I believe those questions will help you to think outside the box. So with those guide questions, can you guys do this work by yourselves? Awesome. So if you need any more help, just feel free to raise your hand. Alright? Perfect. Keep up the good work. And challengers group, you already finished? Wow, what a quick writers. Then why don't you write another story with different plot twist? Because you guys already know that the possibility of plot twist is endless. Can you guys do that? Perfect. So I'm sure that you guys will make a fantastic stories. Keep up the good work. 1 minute left, students. Does any group need more time? Okay, time's up. Okay, so far we just finished writing our group story. Then don't you want to know another group story? Perfect. Let's begin the presentation time. So it's time for the presentation. So time for the presentation. However, whenever we have this kind of presentation, which one do we have to check first? Yes, Tawon? Yes, we need to check the rubric, right? So let me give you this peer evaluation rubric. So take one and pass them to the back. Take one and pass them to the back. So Sangmin, at the back, did you get the rubric? So what do you see in the first part? Yes, it says the story, right? So in the rubric, there are several things you should check. So the first thing was the story. And about the story, what does this mean? Story. Yes, Jihan? Yes, it means the plot twist, right? So based on how much you like the plot twist of your friend's writing, you can give 1 to 5 points. Alright? And what's the second part? Yes, Dongwoo? Yes, it was length, right? So the second part was the length. And what does that mean? Yes, it was 5 or more sentences. So you can give 1 point for each sentence. So if your friend's writing has more than 5 sentences, you can get 5 points. And what else? Yes, Eunyoung? Yes, it says creativity, right? So the third part was creativity. So what does that mean? Yes, that means if the writing is creative. If you think your friend's writing is creative, you can give 1 to 5 points. And not only these things, because it is the presentation, we have what? Yes, Eunjung? Yes, it says confidence, right? So the fourth part was the confidence. Because this is a presentation, the presenter should be confident to give a presentation, all right? And what does that mean, the confidence? Yes, Jihan? Yes, it means the eye contact and the loud voice. So based on how much you like the presentation, you can give 1 to 5 points to your friend's writing. And lastly, what can you see? Yes, Hyewon? Yes, there is comments, right? So make sure you give a comment for your friend's presentation. So based on this peer evaluation rubric, we are going to check our friend's writing. So presenters in each group, are you guys ready? Awesome. So the presentation begins now. Alright, so far we just finished watching our friend's presentation, and there were a lot of creative stories with the plot twist. Then don't you guys have similar experience? Don't you want to share? Awesome. So let's begin to share my experience. So based on the presentation, let's begin to share my experience. Alright, so from now on, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to talk with your partners and share your experience, similar to your friend's writing. However, whenever we do this kind of activity, which rule do we have to follow? Yes, Sangmin? Yes, we need to follow the art rule, right? So, remember this art rule. So what was A, Hyunwoo? Yes, it was active participation. And what was R? Yes, Woohyun? Yes, R is respecting others. So make sure you respect your partner's experience. And what is T? Yes, Jae-woo? Yes, T was take turns. So each student must have chance to talk. Alright, 5 minutes. Share your experience. Go. 1 minute left, students. Okay, time's up. Alright, so we just finished talking about our experience with our partners. However, when I was walking around the classroom, I was very impressed everyone was following the art rule. Good job on this, students. And not only that, I could find that everyone was very honest when you share your experience to your partners. So I was very impressed because all of you guys were very honest. I'm so proud of you guys with this one too. So let's give ourselves a big hand. Good job, everyone. So just before we finish, let's go over today's class. So in the very beginning, we talked about what? Yes, we talked about the enemy. And we did what? Yes, Tawon. Yes, we found the problem and the solution. And we did what? Yes, Youngsu. Yes, we create a story. And we watched our friend's presentation. So with these all activities, let's go back to the first part, the enemy pie. So now, can you guess the secret of the word enemy pie? Yes, Wooyoung? Yes, it was to change enemies into what? Yes, Minjae. Yes, friends, right? So the enemy pie was about the friends. So with today's class, I want you to become a person who can get along with the people around you. Can you guys do that? Perfect. So that's all for today and have a great weekend.